Welcome to the Pest Empire Builder podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about growing your business and creating a phenomenal company culture. Welcome to the show. I am so glad that you tuned in today. On today's episode, we have a phenomenal guest. Mr. Steven is here with us, and he has an extensive history in the pest control industry, and he has been exceptional with sales and company culture. Steven, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. How are you doing today?
No, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely, man. I know you're out in the Atlanta area and you've got a lot of really cool things going on. But for those people who are tuning in and don't know who you are, how long have you been in the pest control industry? Where'd you get started?
Yeah. So I've been in the pest control industry for about 15 years now. I got my roots started in pest control over in the North Carolina market, Greensboro, North Carolina, and have kind of worked my way through the Carolinas and ended up in Atlanta.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah. And recently, you have been working with Pest Nation. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. I'm the general manager of Pest Nation. Our recently combined forces and migrated our companies together. And now I'm running Pest Nation for Carolinas and Atlanta markets.
That's fantastic. And I remember when seeing Pest Nation starting to emerge a few years ago, and it was a really cool concept of what they were doing. I know that you are pushing into new markets. I think you said somewhere in Florida. Is that right?
Yeah. We want to get into Orlando. That's going to be a close market for us, and potentially Nashville in the near future.
Man, that's awesome, man. I love to see that. So, with all of your history and and your experience within this industry, we were chatting offline before we got started, and we're talking about sales processes and really how processes and systems scale businesses, and how you've integrated that into the sales process. I know we've had other guests on the show, like Lenny, who talks about the tactical side of door-to-door sales, but what does it look like on the backside of the sales process with systems and processes and streamlining things?
Yeah. So I mean, it can get taxing and overwhelming at times, but the trick
Yeah.
is the simpler the better. If you could keep it simple, it's going to be easier to use, easier to maintain, and the overhead is going to be far less. So you want to look at what's the cheapest automation, how can you utilize the resources you already have, systems you're already paying for. Like if you're in Google, there's so much stuff in Google that you could take advantage of that you don't have to pay a second service to do, just having the understanding of how to utilize it.
Yeah, that's really good. I don't know about you, but man, like my internal temptation is when I'm building out a system, I put too many steps in there and then I have to go back and like refine it down, man. Like, because otherwise if you have too many steps and in your process, it gets clunky, it gets hard to use. And I think being fast and friction free is like the name of the game, both for clients and for staff and employees, salespeople, everybody that you have going in the process.
Absolutely. And what I've seen and found, at least in doing pest control, is listen to those people. They'll tell you, maybe not always directly, but what is causing the friction, what's causing the problems of not being able to get the information they need to make it happen, or what information do they need in order to make it happen. And by just focusing on that and that culture of being able to listen and support your people, and then building the systems around that is just imperative to having an efficient company and organization that runs smoothly.
Oh yeah, man. That's actually, man, that's really, really good. I think sometimes when you're in the top of management, you think you're like, you got it figured out, because I've been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it might be. And like, oh, I've been there, I've done that. But really like to dive into your front line of your company and say, hey, you're the guy that's going out door to door. You're the guy that's going to these marketing events. You're the guy that's in the office closing the deals. Like, where are the bumps? Like, where are the things that are slowing you down? Man, if you could change one thing, what would you change? And going all the way down to the front line and asking them is important.
I would say if I could change one thing, it would be better transparency. And let me go into a little bit more detail on that. It's being able to get the different parts of the organization to pull on that rope in the same direction and really have a clear picture of, we're in this together, of building that support system. And, I find a lot more of my time day to day is working on those relationships between the different departments and letting them build some of those systems that work and coaching them through the ways to build those systems more so than building them myself.
Oh man, that is so good. Like, cause yeah, if you're building leaders who are building leaders and you're empowering people to be able to build the systems and processes. And I think that that's really important. So many times we get unequal in our leadership where we will give responsibility without authority to make that change. And so if we're given the responsibility of making something happen without the authority to make the changes necessary, like that gap is a huge frustration point for people when you get handed the responsibility without the authority. So the fact that you're empowering people to go, hey, you can make these changes, you can make this happen. I mean, that's a really smart way to lead. I like that.
Yeah. And it isn't easy. It's
No,
rough.
it's not. Yeah. It's not, some people know, I mean, I've owned a bunch of different businesses over my career. Over 20 years, I've owned 10 different companies, but my main company now is Home Inspection, which is in a similar market of pest control. We're closely tied in a lot of ways because we do like pest inspections. And so we're looking for termites and other things. And so then we end up integrating with pest control companies on a regular basis. But one of the things that has been was a challenge that I've gotten more comfortable with now is I allow my lead inspectors to make changes to the template to how they're doing the inspections in the field. And they don't have to ask me anymore. I've just given them the authority to do that. And now that, like, there's so many things that they've changed in the business, and I'm the owner, but I don't know if I had to go to an inspection right now, I'm not sure if I would even recognize the software anymore because they have pushed it so far beyond anything that I have ever imagined.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Do something very similar with my sales team and also my operations team is, they look at a system and they look at like an email template that they're sending out to their client. Like, well, this is not the best way to communicate this information. Here's the login. Go ahead, change it to what you need to. You tell me when you want to send it, how you want to send it. If they're getting communicated to too much, is that they're the ones getting that feedback, not me. So let's let them make
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're getting too much, yeah, they're the one that hears the complaint, right?
Yeah.
Like like my operations team's the same way. They're the one that hears the complaint of like, hey, you're texting me too much, or gee, I forgot that appointment. You didn't text me enough, or whatever it might be. Yeah, absolutely. And the people hearing the complaint have the power now to like, oh, let's make this change and let's adjust it. And you have to do it the right way. You don't just like free willy give that out to everybody. But yeah, if you have the right company culture and you have everybody rowing in the same direction, and then you have a clear vision for your business, and everything's in alignment, it's easy to empower people because everybody can look back to, here's our vision, here's our mission, here's our culture, here's our values, here's how we run our business. And if everybody's on the same page with that, then they can go, okay, I need to make these changes, and they can pause and go, does that reflect with who we actually are as a company? And it allows people to keep things in alignment.
Not only that, it also creates a really good culture of accountability, right? I mean, it's
Ooh,
rigidity.
yeah.
If you have that one person coming in and taking an axe to that, they're trying to screw up that culture. You have all these other individuals that have invested in building it. They're going to protect it, and they're going to look at it and they're going to say, "Hey, that's not the way we do things." So you prevent
that's right.
that toxicity.
Yeah, that's incredible, right? You have Pest Nation. It's like, hey, that's not the Pest Nation way. Yeah. This is the Pest Nation way. This is how we do this. Yeah, and we have that in my company. It's called Duke City Inspections. That's we have the Duke City way. We have the way that we do things here. And it's when you start driving that in, like you were saying, company culture is something that you really are working hard at and doing well with. And that's something I like to take pride in too, is creating a company culture where we're all in the same boat, we're in the same direction, and we hold each other accountable, man. I think that's really important. And especially if one guy's starting to slack a little bit, like now it's a place where one guy's starting to slack. Even the lead inspector doesn't have to call him out. His coworkers are calling him out and be like, hey man, like, we all have a collective reputation. They go online and they're not looking up your name. They're looking up the company name. When they're going like, well, is Pest Nation a good company to work with? They're not looking up Technician Joe. They're looking up Pest Nation, which means everybody at Pest Nation, everybody in your business, everybody in my business, and if you're listening today in your business, everybody has a collective reputation. And so if one person is tarnishing that reputation, that tarnishes it for everyone. If one person is elevating that reputation, it elevates it for everyone, which is why company culture is so critical.
Absolutely. And let's face it, when we're looking at individuals, everybody's different and everybody goes through things. It also allows your team to prop each other up, not just hold them accountable and knock them down. It's, hey, you're going through a tough time. Hey, you're making us look bad. Do you need a hand? What can I do to support you? What can I do? And
Yeah.
when you do that for somebody and they come out of that, they become the best people for your team a lot of the time. They feel
Yeah.
like they're more than just a name or an inspector or a pest technician. They're actually a part of something. And for our values that we do, helping people be that best version of themselves is important.